the three Maghrebi states, Algeria, Morocco and Tunisia, are facing different challenges. However, I do believe that these countries are gonna face another wave of what has been called the Arab Spring. Maybe in the upcoming 4 or 5 years, the triggers that are gonna lead to this next wave of Arab Spring are almost the same for all these three countries. We have challenges related to socio-economic congestions. We have challenges related to the mode of governance, and we have challenges related to global issues. Let us start with the challenges related with socio-economic related challenges. First of all, we had a high level of unemployment in all these three countries. I think Tunisia right now is the worst because it is flirting with 15% of unemployment on the national level. We have also very difficult living condition for many Maghrebi citizens. Actually, according to the Arab barometer, 84% of Maghrebi are worried about soaring prices. We've seen what happened in Tunisia with the problem of bread. That was actually also one of the consequences of the war in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine did not impact Tunisia the same way it impacted Morocco and Algeria. These two countries are more resilient when it comes to food security. Tunisia, for instance, imports and relies on Ukraine for 53% of its wheat. So it was normal that right after the beginning of the war in Ukraine, the prices were soaring in Tunisia. But the COVID-19 pandemic led to a very important loss of jobs. In Algeria, it is believed that 500,000 people lost their job due to the pandemic. In Morocco, 1 of 5 households received aid from the government due again to loss of jobs due to COVID-19 pandemic. So this is when it comes to the socio-economic challenges. We then have challenges that are related to the governance. There is a high level of corruption in these three countries. Corruption actually is a mode of governance in these three countries. We have also a problem of bad governance. We have seen the happy child of the Arab Spring, meaning Tunisia, going down the path of authoritarianism again. And finally, we have a lack of trust in the government institution in the three countries. Finally, we have a lack of intergenerational renewal. In Algeria, we do know well the problem with Bouteflika clinging into power at any cost, and today even the elite is pretty old. Third, we have the challenges that are related to global issues. And I am here, for instance, talking about climate change. We do not talk enough about climate change in the MENA region and in particular in North Africa. Climate change, water scarcity is a real problem in the Maghreb. In Algeria, for instance, in 2021, over 17 wilayas, meaning provinces, were suffering from total loss of water, total cut of water. Morocco is believed to be totally water scarce by 2030, and the problem in Tunisia is also the same. So again, what can be done when it comes to these three Maghrebi countries that are actually, as we all know it, the direct neighborhood of the European Union? And I want to say it in a very direct way. What happens in the Maghreb doesn't stay in the Maghreb. So that means that what happens in the Maghreb will have consequences, direct consequences on the European Union, especially, that we've seen recently that because of the feud between Morocco and Algeria, because of the conflict over Western Sahara between Morocco and Algeria, Spain has been dragged into that problem. Relationship between Algeria and Spain are very tense. Relationship between Morocco and Tunisia are very tense. So again, what happens in the Maghreb doesn't stay in the Maghreb. So we need to think about what can the EU do. So when it comes to Tunisia, I think many Tunisians are expecting the European Union to take a solid stance when it comes to what Qais Said has been doing these latest month. When it comes to Algeria, Algeria is witnessing a state of grace right now. We've seen many prime minister visiting Algiers. You know, 2 days after the beginning of the war in Ukraine, Mario Draghi went to Algiers to sign contracts. So again, this is a country that has been witnessing a state of grace because of the gas. Many countries rely on Algeria for gas. Actually, it is believed that today 38% of the gas in Italy comes from Algeria. So again, this will help the regime sustain itself, and this will also, you know, help it maintain its very generous policies of subsidies. You know, it's very interesting to note, for instance, that between Algeria, Tunisia and Morocco, Tunisia and Morocco have been cutting subsidies since 2014, 2015, while Algeria is the only country who has still this very, you know, generous policies of subsidies. We do know that, you know, this is also a way to buy social peace. But again, I think what all citizens in the Maghreb want today is to rewrite a new social contract. They do not want, you know, to have bread against leaving their human rights behind or their freedom behind. We are talking about a generation of Maghrebi that is more educated, more connected, more urbanized. It has post-materialistic values. It wants freedom of speech, it wants freedom of press, it wants human rights, it wants gender equality. And again, I am not sure that these regimes are prepared to face the desires of freedom and dignity of their populations.